Hi, I'm Dana, and today we're going to discuss the fact that the way that I react to things as an autistic person is actually really fair and valid and okay, because it's both something that I think I've been sort of like processing and unpacking for a long time, and it started to actually sort of like sit and be a real thing for me in my little brain recently. And I think it's something that a lot of other autistic people probably need to hear. I think a lot of us could do with a bit of validation from each other a lot of the time, and I would like to try and offer it a little bit. So I'm struggling a little bit with how I want to sort of like structure what I talk about in this. And I think the place that I want to start is when I went on holiday with my ex's family to Turkey in 2019, because we went in like June or July, and I got my autism diagnosis in the August of that year. So we went on holiday like a month or two before I'd gotten my autism diagnosis, and I was not thinking about the fact that I was autistic in the slightest. It did not sit in my brain whatsoever. Like, quick little disclaimer, I do absolutely think that self-diagnosing your autism is valid and completely necessary as well for a lot of people. Do what you gotta do. It's not my business, quite frankly. If you think that you're autistic, fair enough. But despite having been on like the wait list for like 2 years at that point and being like, I was certain enough that I was autistic that I'd gone to doctors and been like, hello, I think I'm autistic, please put me on the waiting list. But I had not in any way like changed my life. I'd not catered, and I didn't accommodate to myself whatsoever. I didn't acknowledge the fact that I was autistic whatsoever, both because I didn't have the diagnosis, I hadn't had the assessment, and for my brain, it just, unless someone who knows about that stuff has told me you have this going on, I don't believe it for myself. You know, like, I'll believe it for other people. If someone's like, oh yeah, I've decided I'm autistic, I'm like, okay, yeah, you probably are, aren't you? I can't do it for me. I needed someone to be like, yes, you are definitely autistic, I'm telling you, you are now. So, like, when we got on the plane, there was a sort of like a discrepancy of like, we weren't sure where we were sitting and we were going to be broken up, and I just started bawling. I started sobbing loudly and crying, and my boyfriend was really embarrassed. His parents had already gone off. I was absolutely humiliated to be reacting like this on a plane full of people as a full-grown adult. I felt like an absolute freak. I did not know I was reacting this way to getting to go on holiday, being on an aeroplane, having a nice day. Like, I couldn't tell you. And obviously looking back now, I'm like, oh, I was having a meltdown because there was like a massive amount of change and I was leaving the country and it was all like quite a lot, you know? It was the first time I was going on holiday as an adult who like was living independently, like with my ex, you know? Like, I had my mum going in to look after my cats and my snake. Like, I was really stressed to be leaving home. I was really stressed about all the changes, and I just did not accept or consider the fact that I was autistic. So getting on the plane and having, like, we hadn't even taken off, like literally just stepping onto the plane and finding out that our seats were in different places, I just started sobbing loudly, having a full meltdown at the front of the plane, and I just felt like a fucking freak. I just kept being like, what is wrong with me? What is wrong with me? Why am I reacting like this? What the fuck, mate? And one of the other big moments that stood out from around that time was also when we were on holiday, and sort of I'd already had, see, this is going to be a little bit of a rambly one. I'm going to try and keep it in a way that's legible. So I think I also reacted like that to having this massive meltdown on a plane in front of everybody. Like, like I said, I did not place that like, that is an autistic meltdown, this is me being an autistic person. I was like, I'm just a fucking weirdo that can't fucking do anything. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, pull yourself together, bitch. You are a grown up, you are an adult, why are you being like this? And I think we can all agree that a massive amount of that, and a massive amount of why I thought about myself in that way and why that was my like internal monologue, was because that's how my family spoke to me. I was constantly having meltdowns throughout my childhood, and I was quite consistently pushed to have meltdowns because my family found it funny to see Dana overreact like that. Dana just overreacts all the time. Dana's so sensitive. Dana's such a drama queen. So I did just think that, like, I'm sensitive and I overreact, and there's no need for me to be acting like this. I'm just so dramatic. Like, I'm just a dramatic little freak. And because it was one of those things where everybody else sort of acted like I could control it if I wanted to, you know, like I could just be normal, I could just react like everyone else. It's just that I choose not to because I'm so dramatic. And there was a level to which I very much knew that, like, I'm not choosing to act like this. I'm not choosing this behaviour. I don't want to be doing this. I don't want to be living this way. I don't want to get home from school every day and have a fucking meltdown. I don't want to have a meltdown on the front of the plane when I'm about to go on holiday and I'm about to be in this fucking plane for the next 4 hours with these people that have watched me having like just this weird, freakishly emotional moment over nothing. You know, like very much not choosing that behaviour, very much can't control it, very much can't help it. But I've been gaslighted my whole entire life to think that I was choosing to behave that way, and everyone else felt the same way I did and experienced things in the same way that I did, and they chose not to behave like that. So why wouldn't I choose not to behave like that? Because I'm a dramatic little bitch, obviously. But the other thing that happened on that holiday, that after getting my autism diagnosis, I was immediately like, oh, that was actually really fair and valid of me, and I'm actually quite angry for everyone that made me feel like I was weird and being a freak and putting it on and like putting on a show to be dramatic and get some attention when like I think the thing that's always annoyed me about that is that I very clearly actively do not want attention when that is happening to me. I will leave the space, I will push people away, I'll be like, don't look at me, don't talk to me, just ignore me please. I very clearly don't want attention, and yet it's always been assumed that like I'm doing it for the attention. But anyway, we'd gone on this boat trip. It was fabulous. I was having a lovely time. I'd had my little glass of Prosecco on this boat while we're looking at like the ancient ruins in Turkey. It was great. And then everyone was getting in the water to go swimming in the sea. I was like, ooh, how exciting. I haven't been swimming in like proper open ocean blue water before. Like I've had paddles in Denmark, and I used to go paddling in Mill occasionally until I watched what I'm fairly sure was human shit float past me, and I was like, I think it's enough of that actually. Like, I was very genuinely excited, and I had a little bit of anxiety as well, because like I'm not the best swimmer, and also I don't want to get eaten by a shark. I don't want anything to touch my legs while I'm in the water, you know. Like, I won't lie to you, I was a little bit nervous, I was a little bit anxious, but I was definitely significantly more excited and looking forward to it than I was nervous. And everyone else was jumping in from side of the boat, and I was like, that's not happening. I'm not jumping like fucking 6 feet down into the water and having to swim. No, I'm not doing that. So me and my little fucking pool noodle that the boat people had given me climbed down the ladder onto the little platform, and then lowered myself off the platform into the water and just started to hyperventilate. I just could not breathe. I couldn't catch my breath. And like, that was what was panicking me. And the people that I was on holiday with, and my ex and like his family, swam over to me, and they were all like, calm down. Like, geez, like, I'll give that my ex's family did it in a much more pleasant way, but it was still like the same vibe, because like you're a product of where you come from and blah blah blah. But my ex was getting really genuinely annoyed at me. He was like, calm down, it's not that big a deal, like you've got the pool noodle, we're all here, you're floating, you're fine, like stop this. And I was like, no, I'm not scared, I can't breathe, I can't catch my breath, I don't know what this is. Like I was hyperventilating, like could not get a breath in. It was that like loud like wheezing breaths. I was so embarrassed. I knew that people would be able to hear me on the boat. The other people that were in the water were like sort of looking over and be like, yeesh, what's her issue? And I couldn't tell you what my fucking issue is. Like, I didn't feel overly anxious about like being in the water or anything. It was just that like, for me, I can't control my temperature regulation properly. So everyone else was telling me like the water's quite warm, and when I got in, it felt like ice. Like, it was so fucking cold. It's the ocean. Like, don't get me wrong, like I wasn't expecting it to be like bath water, but I was in Turkey and it was a hot place, and I did expect it to be a bit warmer than it was from everyone else telling me that it was warm. And there is a level to which I think maybe they genuinely found it warm. Like, I don't think anyone was like necessarily lying to me. I do think like they jumped in and it was warm for them, and they were like, come on in, it's fine, we're having fun. Like, I don't think anyone was like bullshitting me or being mean in that instance. But for me, that was not warm water. And my body, like, I think it was like the hyperventilating and the not being able to catch my breath, and my muscles all like feeling really weird, and like just having to like sort of float there and try to like fucking survive the moment. I do think that it was the thing of like, for me and the way that my body regulates temperature and the way that it reacts to that kind of thing, it was the equivalent of someone else jumping from like 30-degree air into actual freezing ice cold water, you know? And like, was that what was happening to me? No. But for my body and the way that I regulate things and the way that my body reacts to like the world around me and my sensory issues, that was what had just happened to me. And rather than like respecting that, and like rather than getting me back onto the fucking platform out of the water or anything, people were just telling me to calm down. People didn't understand where my reaction was coming from. They thought I was just overreacting and being dramatic and wanted attention. And it was a terrifying thing for me, because it was one of those moments where everyone was like acting like it was my mental health, I just need to calm down, just take a breath. And I was like, no, my body isn't working, like my body isn't reacting and doing the things that I'm telling it to in the way that it's supposed to, and it's actually really quite terrifying and horrible. And I felt really weird about that for a really long time, and it really took learning a lot more about like what it is to be autistic and the way that it reacts, like the way that sensory issues work and the way that temperature regulation is and all of that kind of stuff, for me to be like, I actually think that I was right and that I did understand what was happening in that moment, and it was my body reacting in that way and not me being really anxious and having an emotional moment. Like, I really do think it was a genuine bodily reaction caused by the fact that I'm autistic. And it's one of those things that, like, that was the more dramatic time that that kind of thing has happened. But I have a lot of times that people will be like, oh, it's a bit chilly today, isn't it? And I'm there with like 3 jumpers and a scarf, absolutely shivering and freezing cold. Or someone will be like, oh, it's a nice spring day. And I'm there in a vest top just like sweating and like, it feels like it's the height of summer, like I am too hot. And for everyone else, they're just like, oh, it's quite nice today. And similarly, they'll be like, oh, it's a bit chilly. And I, like, the way that like my body reacts to the world around me just is not the same as it is for a lot of people. And it is one of those things that feels like, am I living in some sort of different fucking reality? Like, it does feel weird. It's similar to when people can't hear electricity for me. I used to work in a place that had an electricity box in the wall and it was constantly humming, and I'd occasionally mention it to other people and they'd be like, the sound of the electricity box? And like, I've just had a lot of these times in my life that I've felt really, really gaslighted, and like people are lying to me about their experience of the world. Or I've also had a lot of the times where the people around me seem to think that I'm trying to like be some sort of like pick me, like, aren't I special, isn't this like hipster and cool of me or something, when it is just the case of like, I know we're experiencing the same reality, but I can hear the electricity. I am freezing cold or boiling hot right now when you seem to be in all night temperature and think it's fine in here. And I think having to learn that type of thing just is actually quite individualised for some of us. Like, I get that like room temperature is a comfortable temperature for most people, and I'm probably still going to be a little bit chilly, and that's just a me thing. Like, it's fine, I get it, you know? Editing Dana here to share a point with you that I hadn't thought of like 6 minutes ago when I was filming this video. But I don't spend time around people if I'm doing something that makes me really happy. If I'm like, when I go to my Stitch social, I don't take any projects that I'm like about to finish, because I get really excited when I've just finished a project and I'll be like bouncing around and giggling to myself. And it's a way I react to being happy in a way that I don't think people expect, in the way that most people do. And I think a lot of people think that I'm putting it on, and like, it's a whole thing, you know? And to be fair, I think most people that I'm meeting lately would be a lot more just like nice and chill about it in general anyway. And especially when it's like, I finished my project, I think they'd be quite cheerful and happy with me. I don't think it'd be the biggest issue. But I also spent 8 years in an abusive relationship where like, I'm autistic and my main special interest is media. I love my little TV shows, I love my actors, I love my movies. They mean the whole entire world to me, and I've been made to feel so fucking ridiculous for having emotional reactions to like meeting actors that I like, to visiting filming locations where like big things have happened in the TV shows that are my favourite places in the whole entire world. To like, my ex used to absolutely berate me for the fact that I cried out a lot of episodes of Doctor Who while we had Jodie Whittaker, because she was just my favourite Doctor, and getting her and Yaz was everything in the world to me. And I'm gonna stim, I'm gonna flap my hands, I'm gonna cry, I'm gonna laugh. I have a lot of very visible, audible, obvious reactions to the happiness that is caused to me by watching my TV shows. And again, it's something that a lot of people have acted like I'm putting it on and you don't need to be that much over this TV show. And like, I'm so sorry that I'm a happy, fun person filled with whimsical fucking joy. Like, Jesus Christ. I've just been made to feel so fucking stupid and silly for having any sort of like positive, happy, nice reaction to anything, that I don't do it in front of people anymore. Right down to the point where I have a video of me fucking walking onto Santa Monica Pier for the first time. Santa Monica Pier. It's in all of my little films. It's not. I don't watch that many films set in California, to be honest with you. But I was very, very, very excited. It, like, in my head, when I look back on that moment, it's one of the most like joyful moments of my fucking life. Like, looking at the beach and looking at the fucking Zoltar fortune teller thing from Big and the Ferris wheel, and it's so recognisable, and I was in fucking California. Like, it was one of the most exciting moments of my whole entire life. And watching the video of that happening, I'm just stood there with my fucking lemonade with a blank expression. You would not know that I'm remotely pleased to be there from looking at me. Because I've well and truly learned to just mask anything positive. Because people act like my happy reaction is something so fucking wrong and bizarre and weird that I just don't do it anymore. And it is something that, like, obviously I've been working on masking on the whole. And I do think it's something that I'm getting a lot better at. But even like last year, I went to London with my friends to see places that they used to film Ashes to Ashes. And the reaction that I had internally, I know was not like happening externally. And it annoyed me a little bit because it's one of the few times that I knew that I would be safe to like just be really fucking autistic and to cry and be happy and to like be myself. And I just still didn't fucking do it. I just still didn't do it. I still... Like, even now, there's a lot of like I went to the Happy Valley police station not that long ago on my own. And I felt really weird to be excited in the empty street that no one else was on when I was at a location from my second favourite show of all time. You know, my second favourite little cop. The way that I organise my favourite shows is the whole thing. But I was so happy to be there, and I still felt like so weird and awkward to like smile to myself, you know? So yeah, that's the big autistic reaction that I'm learning to accept about myself and to like validate to myself and be okay with, I think. There you go. So I know I've given you sort of like quite specific examples there, but I feel like they're ones that'll give you an idea of the type of reactions that I mean. I don't just mean someone said something that upset me and I had a meltdown or something. Although that counts too, like, don't get me wrong, I do very much mean like the much larger reactions and physical reactions and the reactions that I just cannot help and I can't do anything about, that people seem to take a certain way and think that I should be able to control and think that I'm just being dramatic and a bit much. And it is one of the things that I think I would just cope with a lot better and feel a lot better about in general if it wasn't one of the things that changes more often, you know? Like, there's a lot of autistic traits that I have that I accommodated to before I even knew they were autistic traits, because I was like, well, this is how I'm living, this is the way that I am, I'm gonna have to deal with that at some point. Things that I then accommodated to because I learned that they're an autistic trait, and actually things don't have to be that difficult. Like, there's lots of things that I'm managing really well, and then there's some things where I just don't know when it's gonna suddenly be this like reaction, you know? Like the amount of times recently I've had my heating on and then very quickly been like, I need to turn my heating on, like take off all my clothes, because within 15 minutes I've gone from being freezing cold to boiling fucking hot. And it's within social interactions as well. Like, when I'm going to things, I'm increasingly like seeing people that I'm getting to know, like they're familiar faces, I'd like to get to know them better, I can imagine being friends, it's nice to see them, and yet it's still a completely mixed bag of if it's going to be the day that it's just nice to see them, like I'm excited to be here, I'm happy to be here, how are you doing, we're having a nice conversation. I'm never completely comfortable and happy outside my house, but I'm as comfortable as I'm going to get, you know, like it's nice, it's pleasant, I'm enjoying it. And then there'll just be the time that like I'm still enjoying it, I'm still glad that I've gone, I'm still glad that I'm seeing these people. I'm also shaking and struggling to catch my breath and sweating, and my body's just having this whole physical reaction as though I'm about to be fucking murdered when I'm having a perfectly pleasant conversation with someone that I've already met 5 times before and quite enjoy talking to. Like, great, thanks body, we really wanted to do this right now, cool. And I'm struggling with the weather change at the minute as well, because I'll get dressed to go out and it's cold, the wind is cold, I'm fucking cold, so I put my jumper on and then I walk for 3 minutes and I'm fucking boiling hot and sweating, but if I take my coat off I'm too cold. It's really annoying. And it's things like that, like as a kid or as a teenager, I'd be like taking my coat on and off and just trying to like get myself comfortable, and my family would be like, why are you doing that? It's fine, stop it, like just do what everyone else does, everyone feels the way that you do. And you know what, not everyone does feel the way that I do. If everyone did feel the way that I do, we'd make a world that's accommodated to autistic people, and we haven't done, so I don't think that they do, as a matter of fact. And I also don't think the fact that not everyone feels the exact same way that I do, and the fact that I'm a little bit different to a lot of people, doesn't make it any less valid, you know, and doesn't mean that I should be less catered to or less accommodated to. And like, no, I don't think that other people should have to be uncomfortable to accommodate to me. I don't think that I should have to be uncomfortable either, for the most part, you know? And also, little disclaimer at the end here, when I'm saying like, oh, you can't help the way that you react, I do very much mean the way that you react, like internally, the way that you feel, the way that your body reacts, like physically. I do think that you can 99.99999% of the time, control the way that you react to other people. I think that you should try and react to other people with kindness and with respect. And I know that it's not always like 100,000% possible. You know, like I've shouted at people before, would you believe it? I've not been the kindest person in the world at times. I've been down like pretty fucking mean sometimes. I'm still in a position where I'm like, I kind of think they deserve it. You know, like I'm not saying that we should like endeavour to be perfect people all the time, but there's a big difference between I'm going to hyperventilate if I go into water that other people seem to think is a perfectly comfortable temperature versus I'm going to react horribly when someone like interrupts me or something, you know, like we should be being nice to each other, okay? And I do think reacting to other people is the vast majority of the time something that you can control. Okay, really quickly before I go, I feel mean doing it this fast, but I will do it properly in future. I really don't have long to edit this video and get it posted, okay? I'm sorry. I will once again be linking my friend's GoFundMe down below so that you can help them to afford a van that is medically adapted so that a partner can get to hospital appointments, doctor's appointments, out into the world to do fun things, all that kind of stuff, so that they can do it safely without causing more injury. And it would be... We're already up to 10%, which is incredible and amazing, and I want to say like a massive big thank you to everyone that has shared it or donated or just had anything to do with it. If you've clicked through to have a little read of their story, any of it at all, I deeply appreciate. And I'm just going to keep mentioning it until it's done so that my friend can have a slightly easier life and their partner doesn't have to be repeatedly re-injured. It would be lovely. So that will be linked down below. As always, I'd like to hear any thoughts that you have on this, any relatable, like, similar experiences you've had, if you're able to relate at all, because as much as I do feel like I've done a massive amount of self-acceptance with this one, it's still really nice to know that I'm not the only fucking one, you know? So that's that. Whoever you are, wherever you are, if you have a lovely morning, evening, day, afternoon, week, month, year, and I will see you again in a couple of days.